The madness that is Jakarta, Indonesia. It's the biggest city in Southeast Asia. Crazy traffic, very chaotic. Riot police cars, huge demonstration. Jakarta, the crazy capital of Indonesia. Many tourists skip it when they come to the country, but I decided to see what Southeast Asia's biggest city has got to offer. So, let's find out. My first morning in Jakarta didn't exactly go according to plan. I took a Grab to the city center where all the national monuments are located, but what I found there were barricades. Apparently a huge demonstration was about to start. Luckily, a friendly police officer escorted me to the National Museum. It's here where our story begins. Alright guys, the start to our day here in Jakarta has been a bit more eventful than I would have anticipated. Basically, I wanted to go to the center and show you some monuments here in the capital of Indonesia, but there is a huge demonstration going on, and it is because of the increase in petrol prices. And yeah, this huge demonstration has basically blocked off all the access routes to the main square, the Independence Square. So the demonstration hasn't really started yet. It's still early in the morning, but there is so much police presence and it's impossible to get to the Independence Square right now. So my plan for this morning was to go to this Independence Square, show you guys the monument there because it's huge, and then talk a bit about the history of Indonesia, and then go to the National Museum, which is right behind me here. But because the square on the other side of this avenue is completely blocked off, and as you can see here, this avenue is absolutely deserted at the moment, and there's huge police presence on this end, you know, the far end of the avenue where the demonstration is gonna start. And yeah, because of all of this, I can't go to the monuments now, so I think I'll just talk a little bit here before the demonstration starts, and then we'll go to the National Museum. So let's start our little exploration now. We are here in Jakarta, the crazy bustling capital city of Indonesia, which is the fourth most populous country in the world. Over 275 million people live in Indonesia, and over 33 million people live in the metropolitan area of Jakarta. Now, Indonesia is obviously an island nation, so there are many islands here, and the largest island is Java. So Java is also the island where Jakarta is located, where we are right now, and Java is the most populous island in the world. So yeah, a few records here, and then there is another record, and that is that Indonesia is the country with the largest Muslim population in the world. About 86 or 87% of Indonesians are Muslims, which is over 220 million people. So this is the National Museum. Let's go check it out. So I am by no means an Indonesian history expert, and I'm pretty sure that someone in the comments will immediately correct me if I say something that isn't 100% accurate, but I just wanted to give you a brief historic overview of the country. So basically, Indonesia was a collection of kingdoms, and these kingdoms, they brought Buddhism and Hinduism. So the country was dominated by these two religions until the 13th century, when the Muslims came and started to take over the different islands. So starting in the 13th century, the islands became more and more Islamic, and then Islam became the dominant religion. And then in the 16th century, the Europeans started to come to Indonesia, and the first ones were the Portuguese and also the Spanish. So you might remember Ferdinand Magellan, the first circumnavigation of the globe. Well, his initial goal was to get to the Spice Islands, and the Spice Islands, they are today called Maluku Islands, and they are located here in Indonesia. So yeah, Indonesia was a very important trade hub for different kinds of spices and textile and other riches that you could sell in Europe for very high prices. Now, there was European influence, and the Europeans had trade posts on the islands of Indonesia, but the proper colonization started in 1800, when the Dutch set up the Dutch East Indies, which is today the modern country of Indonesia. And this colonization lasted until 1949, when Indonesia, after a long revolution, gained independence from the Netherlands. So before entering this museum, I was mentioning that Indonesia has a few records in terms of population. Well, there are some more records that I didn't mention. Indonesia has the largest coastline in the world, and it also has the highest number of islands of any country. So there are over 17,000 islands here in Indonesia. Now here we are at the section of the museum which details the modern history of Indonesia. And the first thing to know about Indonesia is just the diversity of languages. These are all the languages spoken in Indonesia. And there are quite a lot. And another thing about Indonesia which you should really know is that it's absolutely huge. So here we have all the different regions, and many people who come to Indonesia, they basically know this place. But Indonesia is all of this. Right, that was the National Museum. Pretty nice museum, well organized, and a good place to learn about history. As I was saying, it's always a good idea to go to the National Museum on your first day in a new country, because you will have the background info before traveling in that country. And now we are walking along this main avenue again, and the demonstration still hasn't started. I mean, it's about 11 a.m, so it might start in the afternoon, I don't know, but the entire area is blocked. There is a lot of police presence, and obviously this is the government district, so there are a lot of government buildings here, and so far nobody has told me off for filming, so should be fine. But yeah, now let's walk to our next stop. Alright, now we are out of this national monument area, which was very quiet and closed off because of this upcoming demonstration, and now we are back in the crazy traffic of Jakarta. And yeah, the police presence is getting heavier and heavier, and I'm gonna visit one more place, and then I think I'm gonna leave this central area here, because I think it might get a bit hectic. Yeah, so first impressions of Jakarta. This place is very intimidating, I think, if you haven't been to a lot of very big, hectic Southeast Asian cities, because this is the biggest city in Southeast Asia. And yeah, it is very loud, very chaotic, but then there are a few things to see here, and I have to say the people are super nice and super friendly. So I've already talked to 5 policemen and soldiers, and they are always helping me and escorting me to the place where I want to go, because it's not so easy to find places here, because a lot of roads are closed and sometimes there's only one entrance to a building. So yeah, it can be a bit complicated if you get here. As I was walking in this government district, the atmosphere became a bit tense. I didn't want to take my chances with the upcoming demonstration, but there were still 2 buildings that I wanted to see. First, the stunning Istiqlal Mosque. Alright, we are now at the Istiqlal Mosque here in Jakarta, and this is the largest mosque in Southeast Asia and the 6th largest mosque in the world. It was completed in 1978, but then it was also completely renovated in 2020. So yeah, it has a capacity of around 200,000 people, and as such it is absolutely huge. So let's go have a look and see if we can go inside. Inside, one of the people working at the mosque gave me a free tour.
Welcome the Istiqlal Mosque.
After the mosque, I decided to get a quick bite to eat from a street food vendor. Right before we are trying to cross this crazy intersection here, I got myself some street food, so let's try that one. So I have absolutely no idea what this is, but it looks good. Let's see. I can't define what this is, but it's some kind of fried cookie. That's all that I can say. Finally, I went to see Jakarta Cathedral. Unfortunately, it was closed on that day, but I still got a quick peek. After seeing these 2 religious buildings, I decided to call it a day and head home. Luckily, I had just missed the start of the demonstration. We pick up the story the following morning when I took a taxi and headed into Jakarta's old town. So we've seen a bit of Jakarta already, the center and some of the national monuments, but we are now in an area called Kota Tua, and this is the old core of Jakarta. So in the 18th century, the Dutch actually built a colonial fort here, and they also built something else. Canals. So I'm standing in front of one of these canals right here, and the whole city of Jakarta is actually still full of them, and most of them were built by the Dutch. However, there were a lot of problems with that. Let me explain. So basically the Dutch built these canals in order to contain the water coming from the sea, which is in that direction, just like in the Netherlands. However, we are in Indonesia here, and what happened is that these canals, they attracted a lot of tropical diseases in the 19th and 18th centuries, and so the Dutch actually had to move out of these areas because they were so disease-ridden due to their own canals. And so that is one of the reasons why the Dutch moved Jakarta a lot further inland, and today the center of Jakarta is actually several kilometers away from the sea. But this area right here, you can see some colonial houses over there. This area was where the original city of Jakarta, or Batavia as the Dutch called it, was built. Alright, we are now on Fathahillah Square, which is the oldest square here in Jakarta, and it was where the Dutch set up their colonial government. And yeah, this place is really nice. It is quiet, it is neat and tidy, and I really like it. So the city of Jakarta has three different types of areas basically. You have some really fancy, wealthy business districts, then you have this old town here, and then everything in between is just mayhem. I mean, the traffic here is absolutely crazy, and just getting from A to B takes absolute ages all the time. But yeah, this part right here, super chilled out, super clean, and yeah, well done. Now there are a few museums here, history museums and some colonial architecture, but apart from that it's just a chill area to walk around, and I think I'm gonna go look for some food now because I haven't had any today. I just got approached by about 5 people while filming my B-roll on the square over there. I think that a white guy with a camera attracts quite a bit of attention here, even though there are some tourists around, but not that many. But yeah, very friendly people. In general here in Jakarta, the people are super friendly. Also yesterday when I was in the area with the national monuments, I got approached a few times by the police, and they always ask me whether I need help or directions and stuff. So yeah, super helpful and nice people here in Jakarta. And now one of the guys that approached me actually told me that I should go into this food court right here.
Okay.
Thank you. So I just sat down at this food court here and ordered some food. And it is some kind of fish. But as always, I have no idea what it is. So let's try. The man said that they only have fish here. So let's eat some fish. Very good fish. I don't know what fish. What fish is this? Do you know the name? Tangiri. Tangiri. Okay, so this fish is called tangiri, and I don't know what that is, but I'm pretty sure somebody in the comments will. And they have some spicy sauce with it. Makes it even better. Yeah.
Hello, I am from Indonesia.
All my new friends here. What's your name, sir?
Widodo.
Okay, nice to meet you. And you too.
Yes.
Juve, you like Juventus?
Juventus.
Yes, very good, very good. Yeah, and these guys here. Yeah, very nice people in Indonesia. Friendly, very friendly. Terima kasih. Yes. Alright guys, that was it from my little Jakarta exploration here, and I have to say this city is pretty crazy, but it has got its beauty spots, and there are quite a few things to do as well. And the locals are super friendly. The next time you will see me on a different island here in Indonesia. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.